Now come back with me in time to May 16th, 2004. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon in Brussels, Belgium. And I had just been offered a promotion to headquarters of the gigantic global corporation that I worked for. I had eaten a hearty European breakfast in my hotel, and I was out for a jog in this industrial park by the airport. Life was good. Then something completely unexpected happened. I stopped in the parking lot of an empty warehouse, and I began to cry. I thought about my awesome girlfriend back home in San Francisco where we lived, and all the cool projects I wanted to get involved in, but I couldn't because I was traveling for work. And my awesome group of hard-won friends in San Francisco that I was missing. And I felt like I was cut off from love, cut off from purpose, and cut off from community. And I felt like I was going to miss out on my life. And it reminded me of my childhood as a kid. Navy brat, moving from town to town, from base to base with my family, and how tough it was to leave friends behind each time I moved, and to then always be the new kid on the block. And how at 11 years old, my family, my parents' marriage, collapsed under the weight of that lifestyle. And feeling that pain again, it connected me to something bigger. For the first time, I felt that my story wasn't unique, that my experience wasn't unique, that there was something that was tearing families and communities apart all over the world. For the first time, I felt some of the crushing loneliness that millions of people feel around the world. I fell to my knees in the parking lot amid little broken bits of glass I still remember that were scattered on the asphalt. And I cried hard. And I couldn't ignore what I was feeling. I had to do something. So I made a vow to do whatever I could, and just one guy, an office worker, what could I do? But I vowed to do whatever I could to try to create a life, to do my best to try to create a life in a world where no one's left out, where people can find community, they can find purpose, and they can find love, and they can find it easily. So I got up, I brushed off my knees, I ran to my hotel room, I sent a letter of resignation, and took the first plane back to San Francisco. And I've learned something really important since then, is that we can't have the lives we want. We can't have the families we want, the communities we want, the city we want, the government we want, without an economy that can bring the human family together. So I'm going to present just 3 high-level opportunities about how we can do that in San Francisco, how we can create a civilized economy, a humane economy, a sharing economy. I'm going to talk briefly about cities, about sharing and technology, and about culture, so very high level. In 2007, we crossed an evolutionary threshold. For the first time in our history, a majority of us lived in cities. We've become an urban species. The human family is literally coming together in cities. And I think that this shift could not be more timely. Where countries are failing to adapt to new realities, cities are actually moving ahead. A wave of urban innovation from across the globe show it's possible. They show that we can take on our biggest challenges, climate change, poverty, and more. And cities are also learning from each other. As just one example, we've learned from Enrique Peñalosa, former mayor of Bogota, Colombia, that you can uplift a city racked by crime and poverty by doing something really simple, by radically increasing access to education, to public space, and to public transportation. He showed that low-cost, low-tech, commons-based approaches can deliver a low-carbon, high quality of life for nearly everyone in a city. In addition to the innovation that's coming out of cities, the rise of cities and the importance of them is being accelerated by big shifts in the global economy. Okay, so I'm just going to share two quick observations that hint at what's coming. First, that rising oil prices will make the globe-spanning supply chains of the global economy a thing of the past. I think this will undermine the power of the world's largest corporations and the governments that they control. The engine driving us to the brink of extinction is literally running out of gas, and I think there's a big opportunity. Yes, it's scary, things could change, things could get messy, but it could be an opening that we can take control of the economy and make it work for us. Second, the rapidly dropping cost of production tools are giving individuals the power to manufacture and do business in a way that only large corporations could do just a few years ago. The access to the means of production are being increased even more by open access models like the Hub and like Tech Shop, where communities can share machinery and skills and designs and code and even finance. So the economy could be coming back home to us, to cities, to this city, to us. And let's be ready for it. Let's grab a hold of it. We can put this economy to work for people and planet. Now there's a new twist. The rise of social technology is taking sharing in cities to a whole new level. So, case in point, we crossed another threshold in 2008. For the first time, the majority of our species used a mobile phone. The emergence of a real-time information layer over cities has opened up a new frontier for and so the possibilities for sharing have gotten really interesting. And so it's probably no coincidence that around this time, a wave of sharing services emerged that's connecting us to the city, to each other, to physical goods in completely new ways. San Francisco is the leading edge of this frontier, and a good many of the pioneers are with us today in this room. They're turning cities into even more powerful platforms for sharing, with the potential to open up the wealth of cities to everyone. Their services make idle assets of all kinds available on demand to anyone with a cell phone or internet access. So for instance, you can rent a car from your neighbor in San Francisco using a service called Getaround or Relay Rides. And there's people here in the room from those companies. Bike sharing is coming to San Francisco soon. With Grubly, one of our sponsors, you can share an affordable, delicious meal with fun-loving friends cooked by a chef in his home kitchen. And that can kind of come together real time, and you can meet up with strangers to enjoy a meal in a kind of trusted environment that the service and the community provides. With Loose Cubes, you can find friendly, inexpensive, shared workspace near you. And there's services that have emerged that just in the last couple of years that make all kinds of things available. Rides like Zimride, tools, garden plots, clothes, textbooks, the list goes on. And on Airbnb, you can rent a spare room in someone's home while you're traveling. Or like we did, we rented something on Airbnb, Shareable Magazine, for a retreat. Or you can rent a castle on Airbnb. Or even a country. I won't be doing that anytime soon. Okay, so to understand the potential of an economy based on access instead of ownership, let's take a quick look at car sharing, which is the proof of concept of the sharing economy. Some have said that it's the gateway drug to a sharing economy. A recent study of 6,000 North American car sharers found that 51% of them joined the service to get access to a car who didn't already have access to a car. At the same time, 25% of the new members actually got rid of a car. A UC Berkeley study of city car share found that new members drove 47% less. In North America, the ratio of cars to drivers and car sharing systems is 1 car to 24 drivers. In the ownership model, it's 1.2 cars to 1 driver. There's more cars than drivers. And get this is really interesting. If San Francisco was able to reduce car ownership by 15,000 cars, it would keep an estimated $127 million in the local economy annually. So I don't know of anything else that can, increase access to resources, boost the local economy, and reduce consumption at the same time. I think that's a pretty special thing that we have to recognize about sharing. And the implications of this are profound. What if access rather than ownership became the dominant economic mode across the globe? What if we had a business community that the more they helped people share, the better they did? So Lisa Gansky, who will follow me, is going to help us think more deeply about this opportunity by discussing the mesh. And while social technologies offer some interesting and new possibilities for sharing, they're just the new kid on the block. It's happening right here. This is part of our community. It's emerging here. So it's sort of uniquely San Francisco and launching to the world. While there are sharing startups that are happening actually all over the globe now. So they're just the new kid on the block. There's really cool stuff that we're going to talk about today also, and innovations in sharing from government, from the solidarity economy, from nonprofits, and in law. So I'm really excited to hear more about that and talk about it in the open space. Okay, so we've covered the opportunities cities and sharing can play in bringing the human family together. How might these trends change how we relate to each other? How might our behavior need to change when we're living together, close together in cities, and we need to share resources? This is a really important question because the economy has a powerful impact on our relationships and it shapes our relationships, and our relationships are the #1 contributing factor to happiness. So this brings me to the third and last opportunity I'll talk, the rise of sharing culture, about shifts in our values that are changing how we relate to each other. So we're sort of moving from consumer culture to sharing culture. So in consumer culture, roughly, you are what you buy, you compete over resources made artificially scarce. The more you accumulate, the more respected you are. You live for things, but often without purpose. You fill up your life with stuff and are often left empty. And here our world and our soul dies. To quote Martin Luther King, "We must rapidly begin the shift from a thing-oriented society to a person-oriented society, when machines and computers, profit motives, and property rights are considered more important than people, the giant triplets of racism, materialism, and militarism are incapable of being conquered." In sharing culture, people come first. We share so that everyone has plenty. The more we share, the more respect we get, and the more that comes back to us. We live for a higher purpose. We only use what we need to achieve that purpose. We fill up our lives by helping each other and are left fulfilled. Here, our world and our souls are saved. Instead of competing, we collaborate. Instead of judging, we seek to understand. Instead of being served a bogus future, we build a real one together. In a world on the brink of collapse, we help each other find purpose in the way that we can best contribute to the common good. This way, we are strong. We can endure anything. This way, we are brilliantly creative. We can make anything. This way, we are wise stewards. We leave the bounty of nature to our children. This way, we are joyous. We celebrate our collective power in art, music, and dance. This way we are loving. We raise compassionate children and build vibrant communities. This way, we are each other's heroes. We help each other build the lives and world of our dreams. Thank you.